I stood in the hospital parking lot, holding a plastic bag with my toothbrush and slippers, staring at the empty space where my house used to matter. The keys in my hand didn't fit anything anymore. My daughter-in-law sold my home while I was recovering from surgery. The closing happened 2 days before they let me out. Before we begin, drop a comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching, whether it's sunrise in Nairobi, midnight in Australia, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France. I want to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't just sit back. Tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. My name is Ruth Miller. I'm 71 years old. For the past 48 years, I lived at 2847 Riverside Drive in Portland, Oregon. That's where I raised my son, Kevin, where my husband, Tom, died in the upstairs bedroom 6 years ago, where every floorboard knew the weight of my footsteps. 3 weeks ago, I went into the hospital for a hip replacement. Simple procedure, they said. You'll be walking in no time. Kevin drove me there on a Tuesday morning. His wife Ashley sat in the back seat scrolling through her phone. She didn't look up when we pulled into the hospital entrance. Kevin helped me out of the car. He squeezed my hand. "Mom, don't worry. We'll take care of everything while you're gone." I remember thinking how sweet that sounded. Take care of everything. I kissed his cheek and walked through the automatic doors. The surgery went fine. The recovery was harder than expected. I spent 16 days in that hospital bed, then 5 more days in rehab learning to walk again. Kevin visited twice. Ashley never came at all. But they called. Every few days, Kevin would check in, ask how I was feeling, tell me not to rush home. "Take your time, Mom," he said. "Rest as much as you need. The house is fine." On my last day in rehab, the social worker came to my room with discharge papers. She asked if I had someone to pick me up, somewhere safe to go. I told her my son would come. I called Kevin that morning. No answer. I called again at lunch. No answer. Finally, around 3 in the afternoon, he texted back, "Can't make it today. Take an Uber. We'll see you at home." I sat on the edge of the bed, the plastic bracelet still on my wrist, and felt something cold move through my chest. Not anger, not yet, just a small whisper that something wasn't right. But I pushed it away. Kevin was busy. Ashley probably needed him. I ordered the Uber myself. The driver was a young man who didn't talk much. I gave him the address. He pulled up to Riverside Drive 20 minutes later. I looked out the window at my house. The lawn had been mowed. The porch light was on. Everything looked normal. But when I walked up to the front door and put my key in the lock, it didn't turn. I tried again. Nothing. I checked the key ring, same keys I'd used for decades. I knocked. Still nothing. Then the door next to mine opened. My neighbor, Diane Foster, stepped out onto her porch. She was holding a dish towel. Her face looked strange, worried. "Ruth," she said carefully, "you're back." "Yes," I said, "but my key doesn't work." Diane came down her steps slowly, like she was walking towards something breakable. "Ruth, honey, they changed the locks."
"Who changed the locks?" "Kevin and Ashley. They've been here every day this week, moving things out. A realtor came by twice." The plastic bag slipped from my hand. My toothbrush rolled across the porch. "What do you mean, a realtor?" Diane's voice went soft. "Ruth, they sold the house." I didn't cry. I just stood there. The sun was setting behind the roof line. Orange light spread across the windows. My windows, except they weren't mine anymore. I asked Diane if I could use a phone. She brought me inside, sat me down at a kitchen table, poured me water I didn't drink. I called Kevin. This time he answered. "Mom," he said. His voice was bright, too bright. "You're out. That's great. Where are you?" "I'm at Diane's. Why doesn't my key work?" Silence. Long, stretching silence. Kevin, why doesn't my key work? Mom, we need to talk, but not over the phone. Can you meet us somewhere? I want to go inside my house. It's not. He stopped, cleared his throat. Mom, the house sold. The closing was Friday. I heard Ashley's voice in the background, muffled but sharp. Kevin's hand covered the phone. When he came back, his tone had changed, colder, more rehearsed. We'll explain everything. Meet us at the Denny's on Foster Road, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Kevin, tomorrow, Mom. We'll talk then. He hung up. I sat in Diane's kitchen until the street lights came on. She offered me her guest room. I stayed there that night staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how the house I lived in for nearly 50 years could be gone in 16 days. But here's what Kevin and Ashley didn't know. 3 months before my surgery, I'd met with a lawyer named Paul Hendricks, not because I was suspicious, not because I expected betrayal, but because I was old, and old people should have their affairs in order. Paul had asked me a simple question. Ruth, is your house in your name only, or is Kevin on the deed? I told him it was mine. Tom and I bought it in 1976. When Tom died, it transferred to me. I never added Kevin's name. Paul nodded and made a note. Good, he said. Keep it that way. I didn't think much of it then, but now, sitting in Diane's guest room, I thought about it a lot. I didn't sleep. I lay in Diane's guest bed and watched the ceiling turn slow circles in the dark. My hip ached. The pain medication had worn off hours ago, but I didn't ask Diane for more. I just stared and waited for morning. At 8:30, Diane drove me to the Denny's on Foster Road. She offered to come inside. I told her no. This was something I needed to face alone. She squeezed my hand before I got out of the car. Call me if you need me, she said. I walked through the glass doors. The smell of coffee and syrup hit me first. Then I saw them, Kevin and Ashley, sitting in a booth near the back. Ashley was scrolling through a phone. Kevin was stirring his coffee, staring at the table. I walked over. My cane tapped against the tile floor. Kevin looked up. His face went pale. Mom, he said, sit down, please. I sat. Ashley didn't look at me. She set her phone face down on the table and crossed her arms. Her nails were painted red, fresh manicure. A waitress came over, young girl, probably 19. She smiled. Can I get you anything? Just water, I said. Kevin ordered pancakes he wouldn't eat. Ashley asked for more coffee. When the waitress left, the silence pressed down like a weight. Finally, I spoke. Explain it to me. Kevin rubbed his face. Mom, I know you're upset. Explain it to me. Ashley leaned forward. Her voice was sharp, impatient. We sold the house because we needed the money. Kevin's business is failing. We're drowning in debt. The house was just sitting there, worth over $600,000, and you were going to leave it to him anyway. We just moved the timeline up. I looked at my son. You signed my name. No, Kevin said quickly. We had power of attorney. Remember? You signed it last year when you went in for that procedure. It was still valid. I did remember. A minor surgery, outpatient. Kevin had asked me to sign a temporary power of attorney, just in case something went wrong. I'd signed it because he was my son, and I trusted him. The lawyer had told me it would expire after 30 days. That document expired, I said. Ashley's jaw tightened. No, it didn't. We had it extended. You can't extend it without my signature. We can if you're incapacitated, Ashley shot back, and you were. You were in the hospital, recovering. Legally, we had every right. Kevin put his hand on Ashley's arm. Babe, stop. He turned to me. Mom, I know this looks bad, but we were going to tell you. We just needed to handle the debt first. The house money is going to save us. Without it, we'd lose everything. I stared at him. My son, the boy I'd rocked to sleep, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, the boy I'd sent to college with every dollar I could scrape together. He looked tired, desperate, but not sorry. "Where's the money?" I asked. Kevin blinked. "What?" "The house sold for $600,000. Where's the money?" Ashley answered. "It's in an account. We're using it to pay off Kevin's business loans." "How much is left?" Silence. "How much is left, Kevin?" He looked down. "About $200,000. $400,000 gone in 2 weeks. I felt something crack inside me. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet break, like ice splitting under pressure. "Where am I supposed to live?" I asked. Ashley sighed. "We found you a place, a senior living facility in Gresham. It's really nice. Meals included, activities, shuttle service. You'll love it." "I don't want to live in Gresham." "Mom," Kevin said, "you can't live alone anymore. You just had surgery. You need help." "I've lived alone for 6 years." "And you've been struggling," Ashley said. "The house was too big for you, too much upkeep. This is better." I gripped my cane. "Did you put my name on the paperwork for this facility?" "Of course," Kevin said. "You're moving in next week." "And who's paying for it?" He hesitated. "We are, from the house money." "So you sold my house, took $400,000, and now you're spending what's left to put me somewhere I don't want to be?" Ashley's face went red. "You're being ungrateful. Do you know how hard this has been for us? We've been managing everything while you were lying in a hospital bed. We've been cleaning out that house, dealing with realtors, packing your things." "Where are my things?" Another silence. "Where are my things, Kevin?" He said quietly. "In storage. We rented a unit in Milwaukee. Everything safe." "Everything?" "Yes. My photo albums, Tom's tools, my mother's china, all of it." I nodded slowly. "I want the storage key." Kevin pulled a key from his pocket and slid it across the table. I picked it up. It was warm from his hand. I stood. My hip throbbed, but I didn't let it show. Kevin stood too. "Mom, wait, let's talk about this, please." I looked at him, really looked, and I realized I didn't recognize him anymore. Somewhere between childhood and now, my son had become a stranger. "I'll be in touch," I said. I walked out of the Denny's and called Diane. She picked me up 10 minutes later. On the drive back, she asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine, but I wasn't fine. I was something else, something colder, something that had finally woken up. That afternoon, I called Paul Hendricks. "Ruth," he said when he answered, "how did the surgery go?" "Paul, I need to know something. If someone forged my signature to sell my house, is that illegal?" A pause. "Yes, that's fraud. Did someone sell your house, Ruth?" "My son and his wife. They used an expired power of attorney." "Do you have proof it was expired?" "You drew it up. You have the original." Another pause, longer this time. "Ruth, I'm going to need you to come to my office. Can you do that today?" "Yes." "Good. Bring any documents you have. We're going to fix this." I hung up and sat in Diane's living room. Through the window, I could see my old house. The new owners hadn't moved in yet. The lights were off. The porch was empty. But I wasn't empty anymore. I was full of something quiet and sharp. Justice. Paul Hendricks's office was in a brick building downtown, 3rd floor, corner office with a view of the Willamette River. I'd been there only once before, 3 months ago, when I'd signed my will and the temporary power of attorney. Back then, the visit felt precautionary, responsible. Now it felt like the only smart thing I'd done all year. Diane drove me. She didn't ask questions, just parked, walked me to the elevator, and said she'd wait in the lobby. I rode up alone, my cane tapping the floor with each breath I took. Paul's assistant, a woman named Marcy, greeted me with soft eyes. "Mrs. Miller, go right in. He's expecting you." Paul stood when I entered. He was 60-something, gray beard, glasses perched on his nose. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. I sat. My hips screamed, but I kept my face still. "Ruth," he said, settling into his chair, "tell me everything." So I did. I told him about the surgery, the 16 days in the hospital, Kevin's calls, the lockout, the Denny's meeting, the $400,000 already spent, the senior facility in Gresham I'd never agreed to. Paul took notes on a yellow legal pad. His pen moved fast, neat lines filling the page. When he finished, he set the pen down and leaned back. "First question," he said, "did you sign anything while you were in the hospital? Any documents Kevin or Ashley brought you?" "No." "Nothing at all? Not even something they said was just routine paperwork?" "Nothing." He nodded. "Good. Second question, do you have access to your bank accounts?" I froze. "I don't know." Paul turned his computer monitor toward me. "Let's check." I gave him my bank information. He pulled up my account. It took 30 seconds. When the page loaded, I felt my stomach drop. The balance was $47.
My savings account, the one I'd built over 40 years, was empty. My checking account nearly empty. $47 left after a lifetime of work. "They drained it," Paul said quietly. "Kevin had access?" I nodded. "Joint account. Tom set it up years ago so Kevin could help if something happened to me. I never took him off." Paul made another note. "That's going to complicate things. Joint accounts are legal access. But let's look at the house sale." He opened another file on his computer. I watched him scroll through documents, his face getting harder with each line. "Here," he said, turning the screen again. "This is the deed transfer, signed 2 weeks ago. The signature at the bottom is supposed to be yours." I looked. The signature was close, but it wasn't mine. The R in Ruth was too round, the loop in Miller too small. Someone had practiced, but not enough. "That's not my signature," I said. "Are you certain?" "Paul, I've signed my name 1,000 times. That's not it." He saved the page. "Good. Now look at this. The power of attorney Kevin used to submit to the title company as proof he could sign on my behalf." Another document appeared. I recognized it immediately. The one I'd signed last year, except something was wrong. "Paul, that's dated wrong." He leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "I signed that in March of last year for a 30-day period. The date on this says March of this year." Paul's jaw tightened. He enlarged the document. The date had been altered. Not well. If you look close, you could see where the numbers had been changed. The ink was slightly darker. "They forged the date," Paul said, "and your signature on the deed. Ruth, this is fraud. Clear, documentable fraud." For the first time since I'd left the hospital, I felt something other than shock. I felt anger, real anger, the kind that burns clean. "What do I do?" I asked. Paul pulled out a fresh sheet of paper. "We file a police report. We file a lawsuit. We freeze what's left of the house money, and we get your house back." "Can we do that? The new owners already bought it." "The sale was fraudulent. The deed transfer is invalid. If we can prove Kevin and Ashley forged your signature and altered documents, the sale gets voided. The buyers get their money back. You get the house." I sat very still. "How long will that take?" "Months, maybe a year. But Ruth, you have a strong case. Forged signatures, altered documents, stolen funds. This isn't a gray area. This is criminal." I nodded. "Let's do it." Paul made 3 calls right there in front of me. First, to the police non-emergency line. He explained the situation, asked them to send someone to take my statement. They said an officer would meet me at his office within the hour. Second, to the title company that handled the house sale. He informed them that the deed transfer was under investigation for fraud and that they should halt any further proceedings. Third, to a forensic accountant he knew, someone who could trace where the $400,000 went. When he finished, he looked at me. "Ruth, this is going to get ugly. Kevin and Ashley will fight back. They'll say you're confused, that you're old and don't remember signing things. Are you prepared for that?" I thought about Kevin's face at Denny's, the way he wouldn't meet my eyes, the way Ashley had called me ungrateful. "Yes," I said, "I'm prepared." The police officer arrived 40 minutes later. Young woman, crisp uniform, notepad in hand. She sat across from me and took my statement. Every detail, every date, every conversation. She wrote it all down. When I finished, she closed the notepad. "Mrs. Miller," she said, "based on what you've told me, I'm opening an investigation for elder financial abuse and fraud. Someone from our financial crimes unit will contact you within 48 hours. I thanked her. She left. Paul walked me to the elevator. "Ruth," he said before the doors closed, "you did the right thing coming here. A lot of people in your position stay quiet. They don't fight. You're fighting." "I don't have a choice," I said. "You always have a choice. You're choosing yourself. That's brave." The doors closed. I rode down alone. Diane took me back to her house. I spent the rest of the day in the guest room, lying on top of the covers, staring at the wall. My phone rang twice. Kevin. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. "Mom, please call me back. We need to talk. I don't understand why you're doing this. We're family." I deleted it. That night, I couldn't sleep again. I kept thinking about the house, the kitchen where I'd baked Tom's birthday cakes, the living room where Kevin took his first steps, the bedroom where I'd held Tom's hand while he died. But more than that, I thought about the $47 left in my account, the lifetime of savings gone, the trust I'd given my son shattered, and I made a decision. I wasn't just getting my house back, I was getting everything. 3 days after I filed the police report, Kevin showed up at Diane's house. I was sitting in her living room drinking tea when I heard the knock. Diane looked through the peephole, then turned to me with a tight expression. "It's Kevin," she said. "Don't let him in." Diane nodded. She opened the door but stood in the frame, blocking the entrance. "Kevin, this isn't a good time. I need to talk to my mother. She doesn't want to see you. Diane, please, just 5 minutes." I stood, walked to the door. Diane stepped aside. Kevin looked terrible, unshaven, red eyes, wrinkled shirt. He was holding a folder. "Mom," he said, his voice cracked, "please, I need to explain." "You had your chance to explain at Denny's." "I didn't know you'd go to the police. Mom, do you understand what you've done? They're investigating me. They froze the accounts. We can't pay our bills. Ashley's furious. She says this is all your fault." I almost laughed. "My fault? You're making this bigger than it needs to be. We can fix this. I'll pay you back every cent. Just drop the charges." "How will you pay me back, Kevin? You already spent $400,000. His face twitched. "I still have $200,000. I can give you that." "That's not what you took. You took $600,000 plus my savings. Do you even know how much was in that account?" He looked down. $80,000. $83,000. Tom's life insurance, his pension, my Social Security savings, gone. Kevin's hands shook. He opened the folder. "Mom, I brought documents. Look, I can show you where the money went. Business loans, medical bills. We were desperate." I took the folder, flipped through the pages. I saw invoices, bank statements, receipts. Most of it was legitimate, business debts, credit cards, except for one section, $15,000 to a luxury car dealership. $12,000 to a resort in Cancun? $8,000 to a jewelry store. I held up the Cancun receipt. "This is desperation?" Kevin's face went red. that was before the house sale. We needed a break. Ashley was stressed. You went to Cancun while I was in the hospital. Silence. Kevin, you went to Cancun while I was recovering from surgery. He couldn't look at me. It was already booked. We couldn't get a refund. I handed the folder back. Get off this porch. Mom, get off this porch before I call the police again. He backed away. His face crumbled. For a second, he looked like the little boy who'd scraped his knee and run to me crying, but that boy was gone. The man in front of me was a stranger. I'm sorry, he whispered. I closed the door. Diane sat me down, poured more tea. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, she said, "You're doing the right thing, Ruth." Then why does it feel so awful? Because he's your son, but that doesn't mean he gets to destroy you. That night, Paul called. His voice was steady but urgent. Ruth, the forensic accountant found something. Can you come to my office tomorrow? What did she find? It's better if I show you in person. The next morning, Diane drove me downtown again. This time, a woman was waiting in Paula's office, mid-40s, sharp suit, laptop open on the desk. She stood when I entered. "Mrs. Miller," she said, "I'm Jessica Chin. I've been reviewing the financial trail of your house sale." I sat. "What did you find?" Jessica turned her laptop toward me. "The $200,000 Kevin said was left, it's not in his business account. It's in a personal account under Ashley's name, opened 4 days after the house sold." I stared at the screen. Kevin doesn't have access? No. Ashley moved the money herself. Kevin probably doesn't even know. Paul leaned forward. "There's more. Ashley has been withdrawing large sums, $20,000 2 weeks ago, $15,000 last week. The account balance is now down to $90,000. I felt cold. Where's the money going? Jessica clicked through more files, some to credit cards, some to cash withdrawals. But here's the interesting part. She pulled up another document. Ashley's been looking at properties, condos in Seattle. She contacted a realtor 3 days ago. Paul's jaw tightened. She's planning to leave. I looked at both of them. Leave Kevin? That's what it looks like, Jessica said. She's moving money, researching new cities, cutting ties. My guess, she's going to take what's left and disappear. I couldn't breathe. Does Kevin know? I don't think so, Paul said, but we need to move fast. If Ashley drains that account, you'll never see the money. What do I do? Paul opened another file. I'm filing an emergency injunction. We'll freeze Ashley's account. She won't be able to touch another dollar. And, Ruth, I'm also filing a motion to reverse the house sale. The buyers are cooperative. They want out. No one wants to own a house tied up in a fraud case. I nodded. My hands were shaking. Paul noticed. "Ruth," he said gently, "are you okay?" "No, but I will be." Jessica closed her laptop. "Mrs. Miller, your son is going to find out about all of this very soon. When he does, he's going to be angry. Are you somewhere safe?" "I'm staying with a friend." "Good. Keep it that way." I left Paul's office and sat in Diane's car for a long time before she drove away. I kept thinking about Ashley, the woman Kevin married 7 years ago, the woman I'd welcomed into my home, cooked for, tried to love. She'd been planning this, maybe from the beginning, maybe the moment she knew the house was worth $600,000. That night, Kevin called again. This time, I answered. "Kevin, the money was gone." "Mom, we need to talk, now. Ashley's account was frozen. She's freaking out. What did you do?" "I protected what's mine." "You don't understand. She's going to leave me. She said if the money's gone, she's gone." "Then let her go." "Mom, please, I love her. She's my wife." "She's stealing from you, Kevin. She moved the money into her own account. She's been withdrawing it, looking at condos in Seattle. She's leaving you whether you stop me or not." Silence. "Kevin?" His voice came out broken. "How do you know that?"
Because I hired someone to find out where my money went, and what they found was your wife planning to disappear. I heard him crying, soft, choked sounds. Mom, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you. What do I do? I close my eyes. You let me finish this. You stay out of it, and when it's over, we'll see what's left. I hung up. 2 days later, the injunction was granted. Ashley's account was frozen. She couldn't withdraw another cent. That same afternoon, she filed for divorce. Kevin called me sobbing. I didn't answer. I wasn't cruel. I just had nothing left to give him. The case moved faster than Paul expected. The evidence was clean. Forged signatures, altered documents, a clear trail of stolen money. The district attorney wanted to prosecute. Paul said that was rare in elder fraud cases. Usually families settled quietly, but this time the DA said it was too blatant to ignore. Kevin and Ashley were charged with fraud, forgery, and elder financial abuse. Criminal charges, not civil. That meant jail time was possible. The preliminary hearing was set for 6 weeks out. Paul prepared me for what would happen. He said, they'll try to make you look confused, old, forgetful, like you didn't understand what you were signing. I didn't sign anything. I know, but they'll twist it. Be ready. I was ready. The hearing was held in a small courtroom downtown. Wood paneling, high ceilings, rows of benches that smelled like old paper. Diane came with me. She sat in the front row, her hand on my shoulder before I walked to the witness stand. Kevin and Ashley sat at the defense table, separate lawyers. Ashley looked composed, hair pulled back, navy suit. She didn't look at me once. Kevin looked destroyed, pale, hollow-eyed. He stared at his hands the entire time. The prosecutor was a woman named Ellen Voss, late 30s, sharp voice. She called me to the stand first. I placed my hand on the Bible and swore to tell the truth. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. And before we continue, please subscribe to Whispers of Grandma. Let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Now, let's continue. Ellen started with simple questions, my name, my age, how long I'd lived in the house. Then she moved to the surgery, the hospital stay, the day I came home and found the locks changed. Mrs. Miller, did you give Kevin permission to sell your house? No.
Did you sign any documents authorizing the sale? No. Ellen pulled out a document. This is the deed transfer. Do you recognize this signature? I looked. That's not my signature. Are you certain? Yes. She entered it into evidence. Then she pulled out the power of attorney. What about this document? I signed the original, but not this version. The date has been changed. How do you know? Because I signed it in March of last year. This says March of this year. Someone altered it. Ellen nodded. She showed me bank statements. Did you authorize Kevin to withdraw $83,000 from your savings account? No. Did you know he'd done it? Not until after. Ashley's lawyer stood. Older man, gray suit, tired eyes. Objection. The account was joint. My client had legal access. The judge looked at Ellen, sustained. Joint accounts allow shared access. Ellen didn't flinch. Mrs. Miller, did you ever tell Kevin he could take your savings? No. Did he ask? No. She moved on, showed the receipts. Cancun, the jewelry, the car. Mrs. Miller, did you benefit from any of these purchases? No. Did Kevin or Ashley tell you they were using your money for these expenses? No. Ellen sat down. Ashley's lawyer stood. He walked toward me slowly. His voice was soft, sympathetic. Mrs. Miller, you've been through a lot recently. Surgery, recovery, that's very stressful. Yes. And you're 71 years old, is that correct? Yes. Do you take any medications? Paul objected. Relevance. The judge allowed it. I answered. Pain medication? Blood pressure medication. Do those medications ever make you feel confused? No. Never? No. He smiled, not unkind, just persistent. Mrs. Miller, is it possible you signed documents and don't remember? Memory can be tricky, especially under stress. I didn't sign anything. But is it possible? No. He showed me the power of attorney. You admit you signed this originally, correct? Yes, last year. And Kevin was managing your affairs while you were hospitalized, correct? He changed my locks and sold my house without permission. But he was helping, paying bills, handling things. He stole from me. The lawyer paused. Mrs. Miller, your son is sitting right here. Don't you think stole is a strong word? I looked at Kevin. He was crying, quietly, shoulders shaking. No, I said, it's the right word. The lawyer sat down. Kevin's lawyer stood next, younger man, nervous energy. He asked me about my relationship with Kevin. Was it good? Had we ever fought? Did I love him? I loved him, past tense. You don't love him anymore? I don't know who he is anymore. The lawyer tried a different angle. Mrs. Miller, Kevin's business was failing. He was desperate. Don't you think a son in crisis deserves his mother's help? Not like this. But if he'd asked, would you have helped? I didn't answer right away. The truth was complicated. Would I have given Kevin money if he'd asked? Probably. Would I have given him the house? Maybe, eventually, but not like this, not stolen. If he'd asked, I said slowly, we would have talked, but he didn't ask, he took. The lawyer had no response. He sat down. Ellen called Jessica Chin next, the forensic accountant. She walked through the money trail, every withdrawal, every transfer, the account Ashley opened in secret, the $90,000 still sitting frozen. Miss Chin, in your professional opinion, was this a planned scheme? Yes. How do you know? The timing, the account setup, the cash withdrawals. This wasn't impulsive, it was coordinated. Ellen asked about the Cancun trip, the jewelry. Jessica confirmed they were purchased after the house sold, but before Kevin told me. Kevin's lawyer objected. This is prejudicial. My client didn't know about those purchases. Jessica looked at him. He signed for the car. Silence. Ellen rested her case. The defense called Kevin. He took the stand, looking like he might collapse. His lawyer asked him about the business, the debt, the desperation. Kevin answered in a flat voice. I didn't mean to hurt her, he said. I just needed help. Why didn't you ask your mother for help? I thought she'd say no. So you sold the house without asking? Kevin nodded. Ashley said it was the only way. Did you forge your mother's signature? No, Ashley did. The courtroom went still. Ashley's face turned white. Her lawyer whispered something sharp. Kevin kept talking. She said it would be easier, then Mom wouldn't even notice, that we'd pay her back before she found out. And did you believe that? I wanted to. Ellen stood. Mr. Miller, you just testified that your wife forged your mother's signature. Were you present when this happened? Kevin hesitated. Yes. And you didn't stop her? No. Why not? Because I needed the money. Ellen sat down. Kevin was dismissed. Ashley didn't testify. Her lawyer advised against it. The judge called a recess. Diane took me outside. We sat on a bench in the hallway. I couldn't feel my hands. Ruth, Diane said, you okay? He knew. Kevin watched Ashley forge my name. He knew.
Diane squeezed my hand. "I'm sorry." When we went back in, the judge read her decision. "Based on the evidence presented, I find probable cause to believe fraud and elder abuse occurred. This case will proceed to trial. Bail is set at $50,000 for each defendant." Kevin posted bail. Ashley's parents posted hers. They both walked out of the courtroom without looking at me. That night, I sat in Diane's guest room and cried for the first time since this started, not because I was sad, because I was tired. Tired of fighting my own son. Tired of being treated like I didn't matter. Diane knocked on the door, came in without waiting for an answer, sat on the bed beside me. "You did good today," she said. "I destroyed my son." "No, he destroyed himself." I looked at her. "What if I'm wrong? What if I should have just let it go?" Diane shook her head. "Ruth, if you let it go, you'd be telling every person who's ever been stolen from by their own family that it's okay, that they should stay quiet. You're not wrong, you're brave." I wasn't sure I believed her, but I wanted to. 3 months after the preliminary hearing, Paul called with news. "Ruth, Ashley's lawyer reached out. They want to settle." I was sitting in Diane's kitchen, peeling potatoes. My hip had healed. I didn't need the cane anymore, but I kept it close anyway, just in case. "What kind of settlement?" I asked. "Ashley agrees to plead guilty to fraud and forgery. She'll return the $90,000 left in her account. She'll serve 6 months in county jail. In exchange, the DA drops the elder abuse charge." "What about Kevin?" Paul hesitated. "Kevin's lawyer is pushing for probation, no jail time. He'd have to pay restitution, attend counseling, and stay away from you." I set the peeler down. "He doesn't want to see me anyway." "Ruth, I need to know what you want. Do you want Kevin in jail?" I closed my eyes. Did I? Part of me did. The part that remembered standing on my porch, key in hand, unable to get into my own house. The part that saw $47 in my bank account. But another part, the part that remembered Kevin as a little boy, learning to tie his shoes, crying when he scraped his knee, that part couldn't stomach it. "No jail for Kevin," I said, "but he pays me back, every cent." "That'll take years." "I have time." Paul arranged the meeting. 2 weeks later, we sat in a conference room at the courthouse. Me, Paul, Kevin, his lawyer, Ashley, her lawyer, Ellen Voss, and a mediator. The room was cold. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Ashley's lawyer spoke first. "My client is prepared to plead guilty. She'll return the $90,000 and serve her sentence, but she wants assurance that Mrs. Miller won't pursue civil damages beyond the criminal case." Paul looked at me. I looked at Ashley. She was thinner, hollow-cheeked. Her hands were folded on the table and she didn't look up. "I don't want anything from her," I said. "I just want what's mine." Ashley's lawyer nodded. Agreed. Kevin's lawyer went next. "My client is willing to plead to fraud. He'll pay full restitution, $543,000 total. He'll attend court-ordered counseling and have no contact with Mrs. Miller unless she initiates it. In exchange, he receives probation." Ellen Voss spoke. "The DA's office is willing to accept these terms, but I want it on record. Mr. Miller, you are getting an extraordinary amount of leniency. If you violate probation, if you miss a single restitution payment, you will serve time. Do you understand?" Kevin nodded. His voice was hoarse. "I understand." The mediator pulled out documents. We signed, all of us. My hand didn't shake. I watched Kevin sign his name, watched Ashley sign hers. They didn't look at each other. When it was done, the mediator collected the papers. "This settlement is binding. The house will revert to Mrs. Miller. The buyers have been compensated. Mrs. Miller, you'll regain possession in 30 days. I nodded. The meeting ended. Everyone stood. Ashley walked out first, flanked by her lawyer. Kevin stayed. He looked at me across the table. His eyes were red. "Mom," he said quietly, "can I talk to you?" Paul touched my arm. "You don't have to." "It's okay," I said. Paul stepped outside. Kevin and I sat alone. The room felt enormous. "I'm sorry," Kevin said. "I know that's not enough, but I mean it. I'm sorry." I didn't respond. "I lost everything. My business, my marriage, my house. I have nothing left." "You have your freedom," I said. "That's more than you deserve." His face crumpled. I know I don't deserve it. But Mom, I need you to know I never meant to hurt you. I was just so desperate, and Ashley kept saying it was the only way, and I believed her. I was weak. You were selfish." "Yes." I stood. "Kevin, I don't know if I'll ever forgive you. I don't know if we'll ever be okay. But I hope you use this time to figure out who you are, because right now, I don't know." I left before he could respond. 30 days later, I got the keys to my house. Paul handed them to me in his office. "It's yours again, Ruth." I held them in my palm. They felt heavier than before. Diane drove me to Riverside Drive. We pulled up in front of 2847. The lawn was overgrown. The porch light was out, but it was still my house. I walked up the steps, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. The smell hit me first. Dust. Emptiness. Everything was gone. The furniture, the pictures, the curtains. The new owners had taken it all when they left. The house was just walls and floors, but it was mine. I walked from room to room. The kitchen where I'd cooked 1,000 meals. The living room where Tom and I watched TV every night. The bedroom where we'd slept for 40 years. All empty. In Kevin's old room, I found something. A single photograph taped to the wall. Me and Kevin when he was 6. We were at the beach. He was holding a bucket. I was smiling. Someone had written on the back in Kevin's handwriting, "I'm sorry, Mom." I took the photo down, folded it, put it in my pocket. That night, I slept in the house for the first time in 4 months, on an inner mattress Diane lent me. No furniture, no heat, just me and the empty rooms. But I wasn't empty anymore. I was home. 6 months after I got the house back, I started putting it together again, slowly, one piece at a time. Diane helped me pick out a new couch. Paul helped me set up a trust so nothing like this could happen again. Marcy, Paul's assistant, connected me with a senior advocacy group. I started volunteering, helping other people who'd been stolen from by family. It turned out I wasn't alone. There were dozens of us, people who'd had their homes taken, their savings drained, their trust shattered. We met twice a month in the church basement on Foster Road. We shared stories, we cried, we laughed, we learned how to rebuild. I didn't hear from Kevin for almost a year. Then, one day, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name on the front in his handwriting. I almost threw it away, but I didn't. Inside was a check, $500, and a note. "Mom, this is the first restitution payment. I'll send more every month. I got a job. It doesn't pay much, but it's honest work. I'm in counseling.
Learning to be better. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. I love you, Kevin. I put the check in the bank. I didn't respond to the letter, but I kept it. A year after that, Kevin asked to meet. Paul arranged it. Neutral location, a coffee shop on Hawthorne. I almost said no, but something in me, some small part that remembered the boy in the beach photo, said yes. I arrived early, ordered tea, sat by the window. Kevin walked in 10 minutes later. He looked different, thinner, grayer, but his eyes were clearer. He sat down across from me. "Hi, Mom." "Hi." We didn't talk much at first, just small things. The weather, the traffic, how the coffee tasted. Then Kevin set down his cup. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said. "I just wanted to say I understand what I did. I stole from you. I betrayed you. I let someone manipulate me into hurting the person who loved me most. And I'm sorry. Not because I got caught, because I hurt you." I looked at him. "Are you still with Ashley?" "No. She's in Seattle. We finalized the divorce a few months ago."
"How do you feel about that?" He shrugged. Relieved mostly. She wasn't who I thought she was, and I wasn't who I wanted to be when I was with her. "Who do you want to be?" "Someone you'd be proud of." I didn't say anything, just looked at my tea. Kevin kept talking. "I've been paying restitution every month. I'll keep paying until it's done, even if it takes 20 years. I owe you that. I owe you more than that." "I owe you honesty," I said. "That's all I ever wanted." Kevin nodded. "I know. And Mom, I know I don't have the right to ask, but one day, if you ever feel like it, I'd like to come by the house, just to see it, just to remember what it was like before I ruined everything." I didn't answer right away. I watched him, really watched, and I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Humility. Real humility, not the desperate kind, the kind that comes from losing everything and realizing you have to start over. "Maybe," I said, "one day." We finished our drinks. Kevin walked me to my car. Before I got in, he hugged me, quick, uncertain. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hug back. When I got home, I sat on my new couch and cried, not from sadness, from release. I'd been carrying so much anger for so long, and for the first time, I felt it start to lift. That night, I called Diane. "I saw Kevin today." "How'd it go?" "Better than I expected." "You forgive him?" "Not yet, but maybe someday." Diane was quiet for a moment. "Ruth, you're one of the strongest people I know." "I'm just tired of being angry." "That's what makes you strong." 5 years later, the house was fully paid off. Kevin had kept every restitution payment, $500 a month, sometimes more. He never missed one. The total came to $543,000. It took him almost 10 years. When the final payment cleared, Paul called. "Ruth, you're whole again." "I've been whole for a while now," I said. Paul laughed. "Fair enough." I invited Kevin to the house that week. He walked in slowly, looked around. The furniture was new, the walls were painted, the photos were back up, though most were different ones. He stopped in front of a picture of me and Diane at a volunteer event. "You look happy, Mom." "I am." We sat in the living room. I poured tea. We talked about his job, my advocacy work, the people I'd helped, the counseling he'd finished. We didn't talk about Ashley. We didn't talk about the trial. We just talked. Before he left, Kevin stopped at the door. "Mom, thank you."
For what? For not giving up on yourself, on the house, on me. I didn't respond, just watched him walk to his car. When he drove away, I closed the door and sat on the couch. The house was quiet, but it wasn't empty. It was full of new memories, new routines, new peace. I thought about the woman I'd been 5 years ago, standing in a hospital parking lot, locked out of her own home, lost and scared. That woman was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who'd learned that justice isn't loud. It's patient, it's quiet, it's refusing to let betrayal define you. I finished my key, turned off the lights, and went to bed in the house I'd fought to keep. And I slept better than I had in years.
I still live in that house on Riverside Drive. Kevin visits once a month now. We're not what we used to be. Maybe we never will be, but we're something, and that's enough. If you're watching this and you've been betrayed by someone you love, I want you to know something. You're not weak for trusting them. You're not foolish for giving them chances. You're human. And being human means believing in people, even when they don't deserve it. But it also means knowing when to stop, knowing when to protect yourself, knowing when to say enough. I didn't win because I destroyed my son. I won because I refused to let him destroy me. And that's the only victory that matters. Thank you for listening. Drop a comment and tell me where you're from. I'd love to hear your story too. If this story resonated with you, please don't hesitate to like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can share more with each other. Please leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from.